I left my husband the day after our youngest moved out. He says I've deceived him all these years. My F49 husband, M51, cheated on me. It was 10 years ago when I got a call from school saying that our youngest, then 9, was sick and needed to go home. When we arrived, I heard them in our bedroom. I panicked, made loud noises to let them know they weren't alone and that our daughter was with me. I'm crying just writing this. I still cry whenever I remember that day. The first year after that was the hardest on me. I felt so insignificant and inadequate. Ugly and undesirable. We started therapy and my husband promised to do anything to make it work again. We moved apartments and bought new furniture, and I started a new habit of changing the sheets every night before bed. All of this wasn't as effective as that one morning when I woke up and realized that I wasn't in love with my husband anymore. After this realization, everything seemed easier moving forward. I saw him as a roommate and a great support raising the children. A good friend. We love our children and we wanted the best for them. For these next 10 years we hardly ever fought and we raised 3 beautiful, happy, and successful young people. When I realized that I didn't love him anymore, I also stopped caring. What if he did it again? It was one of my nightmares in the beginning. I didn't care anymore as long as I slept in clean sheets every night. Around Christmas, our youngest daughter, who is now 19, got her first contract for her own apartment. That's when I knew that I was free. I also set in motion my plans of moving out and getting my divorce. I found myself an apartment too, and I thought my husband can live in our apartment until we settled everything up. When I told him and handed him the divorce papers, he was in shock, and when I moved out the day after my daughter, on April 2nd, he was even more shocked and distraught. Now he is telling me that I have deceived him all these years, acting like I was fine when I wasn't, while he lived in regret every day for how he hurt me. I am cold and calculated, and I am vindictive. I don't recognize any of these accusations. I don't see things that way. I saw it as me, and him of course, doing the best with what I was dealt to make a happy and content life for our children, our whole family really, and I think that I succeeded. What more could anyone ask of me? Edit. Yes, we still had sex. It started again 2 to 3 years later. We used protection because I wouldn't let him touch me without. I said we hardly ever fought, but if we did, it was about sex and the condoms. Also, it went from 2 to 3 times a week to 2 to 3 times a year. In my mind, if he cheated when we were very intimate and active, he was probably cheating now. It bothered me less and less with years. I don't know how long they were sleeping together. I don't know who she was. I never wanted to know. I just saw her once, and that was the only thing I didn't want to know in therapy. I don't know if he still slept with her or others. I just assumed he did because it was easier for me to expect the worst. I never said love you to him again. Something we used to say often before. He continued saying it and always told me that he would wait for me to say it back. I didn't need to leave to find happiness sooner. I was happy and lucky having my children and my home. I didn't need more, but now I see no reason or happiness in staying. I never did what I did to get back at him or to get revenge. My children know I have left. They are sad, but my reason was good enough. I was out of love with him. They don't know the details, and we are keeping it this way. They don't need to know anything. I doubt he lived in regret if he didn't realize the relationship changed to roommates. Shows he didn't put forth the effort to reaffirm his full commitment to your relationship. Did he even do any work other than change apartments and change the bed sheets? The nerve of cheaters. Good on you for protecting yourself and your children after his affair. An affair that he had no problem using your home/bed for. He probably never stopped cheating, just didn't bring them to the apartment. You don't owe him anything. Live your life and make it a good one. Story 2. My wife cheated on me, and when I confronted her, she laughed at me. I cheated on my wife. M38, F41, 4 years ago. I regret it to this day, and I have never done anything since. We have 2 small children, and when she found out, she moved out. Life was hard on the both of us, and we were miserable. I love my wife more than anything, and losing her was excruciating. After a few months apart, I begged her to come back, and we took it slow, going to therapy and just trying to build our life together back up. She moved back after a year, and everything was back to normal again. We were even stronger, and our relationship grew. We are very happy together. I finally thought our life was perfect again. About a week ago, a man showed up at my door, and when I opened, he was confused, then apologized for mixing the days up. I was supposed to fly home with my children the next day. My wife took over, and she went back to the guy's car, and they talked for 5 minutes, and he drove away. I asked her who he was, and she said he was just a friend. He came to pick her up since I was supposed to be at my parents', but he mixed the days. I was shocked, so I asked her if she was sleeping with him. She was so unbelievably unbothered, looked at me for a moment and said yes. I was speechless. Are you sleeping with others? Yes. Since when? Since we got back together. She was calm the whole time, talking about it like it was normal. She asked me why it was okay for me and not for her, and when I said that I never as much as looked at another woman since I cheated, she was surprised at first, then she laughed at me. She said she just assumed that I did, so she thought if I could, then so could she. I canceled my trip to stay with her at home, but she said that she was sorry, she already made the plans. I got very upset and started yelling at her. She said that if I didn't like it, maybe we aren't supposed to be together. Then she said, if you start yelling again, I want a divorce. It's over, my guy. She has checked out the relationship and is with you for convenience. You might be upset about how she responded to your cheating with her dishonesty and cheating, but sometimes when you break something, you can't put it back together. Story 3. I found my husband's Reddit account, and I wish I hadn't. Last night my husband 26M gave me 25F his phone to put my order into since we were getting Chinese. I know his password and we each have free access to the other's phone, but I never really checked his phone. While I was putting my order in, a message from someone on Reddit came up, and I thought I was going to have a panic attack. I knew my husband used Reddit, but I didn't know what he was doing on Reddit. I clicked on the message and saw the back and forth between him and this other woman. The messages were intimate, as he was asking her for more photos, if you get what I mean. I looked further and saw my husband was in numerous NSFW groups dedicated to other women's spicy pictures. The woman whose message came up was not the only woman he had been messaging as well. Upon further inspection of his Reddit account, I found his posts in marriage groups where he is lying about our relationship and our child. He made one post talking about how I don't let him talk to his female best friend who is like a sister, but my husband does not have a female best friend that I have ever known about. My husband also lies about our 4-year-old daughter, stating that she often disrespects him and clearly favors her other parent over him. Our daughter is the sweetest little bean whose disrespect is usually just saying duh after a sentence, which she learned from him. I am currently 8 months pregnant with our second child, and I feel numb. I don't know how I could have missed my husband messaging multiple women behind my back for who knows how long. I showed him what I found after he asked if I had decided what I wanted, and was met with a deer in the headlights look. He cried and said he just does things sometimes and doesn't remember doing them. I feel like that is the most ridiculous excuse he could have possibly given, and it's honestly more disrespectful to me that he thinks I'm dumb enough to simply think he just doesn't remember. I slept in my daughter's room last night, and he is currently at work. I know there was no physical cheating involved, but I just don't feel like I can ever truly trust him again. If he hid this, I can't help but wonder what else he has hidden. Trust your gut. He was cheating with other women. Just because it's not physical, doesn't mean it's not cheating. He's speaking about you disrespectfully. He's treating you like an idiot. I'm so sorry you're going through this while pregnant. But don't stay with him because of that. You are worth more. Decide what's best for you.